I'm not sure if I quite get this. Everybody on the internet's talking about like Wonder Woman 1984. Okay, HBO Max has said that it hit 12.6 million activations ahead of Wonder Woman. Now, the plot, I looked it up. Wonder Woman squares off against Maxwell Lord and the Cheetah, a villainess who possesses superhuman strength and agility. I guess that sounds good. I guess we need that type of hope here at the end of 2020. I just wonder, if Wonder Woman and Spider-Man went into business together, would they call it Amazon Web Services? You know, when I wrote that, I actually laughed out loud. Sometimes I'm just so funny. And you see, ladies and gentlemen and boys and girls, just an example of all the fun that we have here week after week as we talk about living the best digital life. We talk, of course, about all the gadgets and gizmos and making money and saving money. And this time of year, what are the best holiday gifts? And you can find the Kim Komando Show on 400 top stations from coast to coast and around the globe on American Forces Network Radio. And it's called the Kim Komando Show because, after all, I'm America's beloved digital goddess, Kim Komando, here with you once again.
We're not worthy. We're not worthy. We're not worthy.
I actually got an email from someone this past week who wanted to know, because I mentioned on last week's show that the We're Not Worthy live section of our studio audience is truly practicing social distancing. So he mentioned that he was going to be coming to Phoenix and he wanted to be part of the We're Not Worthy live studio audience. And I had to write him back and say, there is no live studio audience. Yeah, sorry about that. It's all kind of a joke. And I'm sure you have at least 1, 2, or 12 questions about something digital I can lend a hand to. And our T-Mobile Unlimited listener line is now open at 1-888-825-5254. All right, let's get this party started with 5 things that you need to know to stay up to date in this whole entire tech race. And this week, it finally happened. The Federal Trade Commission, along with 46 states, the District of Columbia, and Guam, filed 2 separate lawsuits against Facebook. And the suits are pretty clear that Facebook harms consumers, advertisers, and competing firms, that it engaged in a systematic strategy to eliminate all competitors with the mentality, if you can't beat them, buy them. It often worked. Facebook bought Instagram, then they purchased WhatsApp. But get this, they also tried and they failed to buy Twitter. They also tried to buy Snapchat. And even now they have a monopoly over social networking to the point that Facebook companies hold a unilateral power to arbitrarily censor and silence all opinions it doesn't like. Okay, you are totally watching history unfold. You have to pay attention to this. This is going to be as big as the breakup of Kodak, AT&T, even Standard Oil. And when the government eventually wins, look for Facebook to be forced to spin off Instagram and WhatsApp. Now, Facebook calls the lawsuits revisionist history, saying that years after the FTC cleared those acquisitions, the government says, all right, now we want a do-over. Maybe Facebook should think about what they could have done differently. And maybe Zuckerberg's the one that says, maybe I need a do-over. Number 2, Facebook is big, but do you really know how big it is? I don't think you do. Okay. Facebook alone became the biggest social site in the U.S. 11 years ago. It's a long time. In 2012, Facebook bought Instagram for $1 billion. Wow. That year, they hit 1 billion active monthly users. 1 billion people. Wow. 2 years later, they bought WhatsApp for $19 billion. These are all huge numbers. And then they bought the VR company Oculus for another $2 billion. 2015, they hit a market value of $245 billion, making it worth more than Walmart. I mean, think about this. This is a site that started like with a couple of guys out of Harvard. Today, it's a $790 billion company, an annual revenue of $80 billion. Gosh, imagine that. Facebook itself has 2.74 billion monthly active users around the world. It's about a third of the entire globe. But the combined customer base of Facebook, Instagram, WhatsApp is now 5.75 billion users. Wow. So you think it's a monopoly? You have all that's needed to prove that old saying. You know the saying I'm thinking about? Power corrupts. Absolute power corrupts absolutely. Number 3, 2020 was a banner year for Google's search trends. Oof. What do you think the most searched phrases were in 2020? Anybody? Let's look at the top 5. Number 5, coronavirus symptoms. Number 4, coronavirus update. Number 3, Kobe Bryant, the basketball legend who, along with his daughter and 7 others, died in that tragic helicopter crash back in January. Number 2, simply coronavirus. So what do you think the number 1 Google search trend was over the past year? Anyone? Election results. All right, let's not forget about another topic that made the trending search list, murder hornets. Yeah, in 2020 was a movie. There was this whole different plot that didn't progress the story. For a short time, murder hornets was all that the internet was buzzing about. We used to just call them killer bees. Number 4, does anybody in your family want a PS5 for Christmas? This is not the way to get it. You have groups of thieves taking a scene straight out of the Fast and Furious. The technique's called the rollover. It involves cars working together to keep the truck from changing lanes or turning. Then one brave soul stands on top of the car that's directly behind it, breaks the lock, and then you have instant access to the cargo, whether it's PS5s, TVs, whatever. Sounds a little out there, but according to the Times in the UK, there have been at least 27 of these heists from January to September, and it's on the increase since the holidays are approaching. A couple of questions here I was thinking about. You just can't pick random trucks and routes, so somebody needs to know where all these trucks are going. And then there's the time involved. This isn't a quick operation, but the police don't respond in time. And let's say you have a truck driver with a bit of an aggressive streak. They can't change lanes easily, but slamming on the brakes is like in the movies. It'd be like game over. I mean, Mike Tyson would never buy a PS5. You know why? Because he's an ex-boxer. I saw you laugh. I did. And finally, number 5, social media isn't always a bad thing. This is a great story. 92-year-old Mal Osborne earned a letter jacket running in track in college around 1950. 70 years later, he's still wearing this letter jacket. That is, until he lost the jacket back in October. And after family members tried to help him find the jacket along the usual routes that he would walk, they went on social media. On November 30th, his daughter posted a message asking for help on Facebook, along with a recent photo of Mal wearing the jacket. 24 hours later and 1,000 shares later, she got a message from a woman who lives near her father in North Carolina. The woman found the missing letter jacket in her front yard, which is covered in leaves. And after a good cleaning, the priceless letter jacket was returned to Osborne, all through the power of social media. So sometimes they're good, is a good thing, but you have to be careful out there. A guy in a leather jacket told me that if I gave him $100 after 6 weeks, he would pay me $500. Turns out it was just a Fonzie scheme. Okay, Mike, you were laughing. Okay, admit it, Mike. You laughed at that one.
That was 3 in a row right there.
All right, and see, and you're smiling, right? I mean, we need some smiles here in
Absolutely.
2020. And if you ever have a question for me that you want to answer, you would like me to answer here on the show, or maybe in one of our tips over at the website, just send it to me by heading over to the website. And at the bottom of every single page, there's a link that says contact us. And of course, the official homepage is komando.com. Let's see. How about we get this party started already with David in Dallas, Texas. Hello there, David.
Hello, Kim.
How are you?
Every day I get to see is a good one, and I hope the same for you, miss.
That's for sure. That's for sure. Especially this time of year. You know, sometimes people are getting down around the holidays, but, you know, it's still the holidays, and we still need to be happy. So what's going on with you?
Well, I have a question for you, and since you are like a digital Jedi master, this is very cool for me. So this is great. So in a nutshell, we run a podcast, okay? We've started one. We have a small audience. So I thought I can read up on a lot of things, but, man, no better to come to the source for a couple of questions on expanding the show. And this is such a treat to speak with you.
Well, first, wait. I have a question for you first. Okay, so What's your podcast about?
Our podcast is about, let's see, how do I put this in a nutshell, is discussing basically social issues in all communities and bringing regular people to the platform to discuss it in hopes of getting more discussion on a community basis on all topics to kind of better our community. I may be saying this wrong, but it's a general show for people to talk about issues on a local level.
You know what, and that's good. That's fabulous. because we need more local. We have our local radio stations, we have our local newspapers, we have our local websites, and it's for people to have their own communities. I think that's fabulous. And so, are you distributing now on Apple, Google, and all the other places?
Yes, ma'am. The audio side is on Apple, is on Podbean, is on
right.
iHeartRadio, all of the standards, and we do have a YouTube page as well as a Facebook page.
Good.
And my question to you was in regards to I've been going to a studio. The gentleman that runs the studio is a radio veteran like yourself, manages a couple of shows. He has a podcast suite, and he's been doing the show for me. But I want to be able to produce my own show.
Okay.
So I have a couple of people that are in the industry, so I wanted to ask you about OBS software, editing software, and potentially a camera that I can get kind of on a budget. We have a nonprofit and another small business, so we're trying to use the show to grow all of everything that we're doing.
So is your idea that you would obviously film the show, tape the show while you're doing it, and then you have guests. You have guests probably coming in, especially now still because we're still in social distancing, right?
That's correct.
Via Zoom, because it's really hard sometimes to talk with them in a microphone with you have a mask on, right?
That's correct.
I'll tell you, the software that we're using, the OBS software that you mentioned, we're actually using that have you ever watched us do the show?
Yes.
Okay, so on the breaks, on the half-hour breaks, we bring in like Allie, who's I call her affectionately the amazing content queen. Okay, and sometimes we have Ben with us, and he's our trusty news director. Okay, and so on the half-hour breaks, they're at home, and we actually are using Google Meet with them. Is that we're using the OBS software to bring them in, and actually John, our IT genius, and Jeremy. He was also an IT genius. They figured out how to use OBS. The thing about setting it up is that it's not for the lighthearted. I'm not going to tell you that it's something you'll be able to do. Oh, yeah, lickety split, right? Okay. Mm-hmm. It's something that you need to really take time. But I can tell you're astute and you want to learn more about this, and you can do that. There are some links from the University of Texas at Austin in their communications department. And that's one of the wonderful things about the internet is that you can find knowledge, and knowledge is power. And I'll send you some of these links so that this way, this professor of communications will actually walk you through how to set up OBS and some challenges that you might have along the way and the right gear. Now, as far as some 4K and HD cameras that aren't going to break the budget, what I'm going to do is I'm going to refer you to after the show, I'm going to put some links in our Komando community message board. And so since you're a member, you can go ahead and post your questions there, by the way. But for anybody who's not a member, I'm going to post some links there so that this way you can take a look at some budget cameras, at least to get you started. And congratulations on your success. It sounds like you are way on your way, zooming out of here. And thank you so much for your call. Hey, listen, we're on the road so much during the holidays that we can't afford to have our cars break down. That's why you need to call CarShield. Visit carshield.com, use code Kim, and you're going to save 10%. A deductible may apply. Stay right where you are. We have our digital life hack and a very special caller about the dark web you don't want to miss. You're on the Kim Komando Show. All right, a couple of things I want to pass along before we go back to all of your phone calls. And also we have our digital life hack you don't want to miss, is that if you're looking for something to watch, well, now you can watch the first 20 James Bond movies released for free on YouTube. They have Roger Moore, Pierce Brosnan, and maybe what some people believe is the best 007, Sir Sean Connery. Yes, listen, who's Dr. No, From Russia with Love, Goldfinger, Never Say Never, GoldenEye, The World Is Not Enough. You go over to YouTube under movies and shows, just look under free to watch. By the way, if you are more of a new James Bond film and you're looking for a 007 film starring, say, Daniel Craig, there are 3. Craig is portraying Bond, and one last time the movie was supposed to be in theaters months ago, but it keeps getting delayed and delayed and delayed due to the pandemic. But if you've seen the trailer, you may have noticed that 007 is now sporting a little tiny bit of gray hair. That's right. Apparently, there's no time to die. Over at Komando.com, we had a great tip this past week, trending like crazy on how you can see exactly what's on your network. If you see something you don't recognize, you want to click it off. Could be your neighbors, could be something else. And there's an app called Advanced IP Scanner that's reliable. It also happens to be free. It analyzes your entire network to show you all the devices, every single one that's connected to your Wi-Fi. And then there's also an acrylic Wi-Fi professional app. If you're looking for either one of those, look no further than the official homepage of the Kim Komando Show. And back to the calls we go with Walton in Louisiana. Hello there, Walton.
Hi, Kim.
Welcome.
Well, thank you for having me.
My pleasure. What's going on, sir?
Well, my question is very simple and yet a little complicated at the same time. I am looking for video conversion software that would enable me to convert VHS movies to DVD.
Okay.
Either for now I have a Windows 7 operating system that I prefer to use on
But
one
we're not going
computer.
to. No, you're not going to use that. That's not good. It's
Okay.
too old. Too old.
Okay.
Okay. So Windows 7,
right.
because Windows 7 was released in 2009. Okay.
Okay.
So any software that you want to use for this, it's not being updated really to run on Windows 7 anymore because we want to get up with the times. How many tapes do you have, Walton?
Well, right now I have about 5, maybe 6 that I would like to convert.
Okay. Well, let me tell you the hard way and the easy way. Okay.
Okay.
And time being precious, I like the easy way. But if you want to do this, you said you had a Windows 10 machine as well?
I do.
Okay,
A
so
laptop.
All right, so Windows 10, there's a product that's been out there for a really long time. It's made by Roxio. And it's about, I don't know, it's about $30, $40, somewhere in that ballpark. And it comes with a little gadget, a little adapter, and the software and everything that you need that will kind of work as the middleman, if you will, to take that videotape and then put it inside your computer and then burn that DVD for you, okay?
Okay.
All that sounds really easy to do until you actually do it, okay? Because you know as well as I do, you've been around computers a while, that anytime you talk about video, that computer, what does it do? It goes like, oh no, what are you doing to me, right? I mean,
That's correct.
okay, and the processor and the graphics card says, oh, I need to breathe over here. But, you can try it. You can try it. But if I only had 5 or 6 videotapes, you know what I would do? I'd go to Walgreens, I'd go to Costco, I'd go to Walmart, and you give them your VHS tape, and you can transfer 2 videotapes for 2 hours of footage, starting at about $20.
Okay.
So instead of you spending time, effort, energy, hours, then maybe you're going to make a DVD, but it doesn't work in everybody's DVD player, right? You know what I'm talking about.
That's right.
Okay.
Well, see, that's the biggest problem I've had so far. Some of the programs I've tried, I actually have been able to make a DVD, but they do not work in a standard DVD player.
Yeah,
now, this is with a Windows 7 system. I have not tried with the Windows 10 yet.
Okay, I'm telling you, sir, even if you want to try the Windows 10, I can give you all the links to the Roxio software and the whole kit and caboodle. But I'm just telling you, if I had 4 or 5 tapes, 5 or 6 tapes, less than 10 tapes, I'd send them out, let them do the dirty work, and then I go pick up the DVDs, or I get the DVDs in the mail along with my VHS tapes. Are you looking to share these?
These are no, not really. I mean, these are just for me.
Okay, all right. Because, if you wanted to, you could also, there are ways that you could put it in the Walgreens photo website and all this other stuff. You can get them online and put them in Google and put them on YouTube or whatever like that. But let me do this. Let me send you a link to a tip we wrote about easy ways to preserve your old photos and your videotapes, about how you can send these off to Costco, Walmart, Walgreens, and then they'll do the legwork for you, and then you just can pick up those DVDs. Walton, thank you so much for your call. So often we hear about the dark web, right? It's where criminals sell illegal drugs, they launder money, they commit crimes. often with little or no repercussions. It's a place where hackers buy your stolen credit card credentials and IDs. Now, the dark web is not a place where you want to go unless you have a solid understanding about what you're really getting yourself into. So joining us for just a few moments on the Komando Special Caller line is John Hammond. He's a security researcher at Huntress. I always think that if we know how criminals work, then we can better protect ourselves. And so, John, the criminals are like kids in a candy store on the dark web. Real quick, what do you think is the biggest way that cyber criminals are using the dark web to make money right now?
Hey there, Kim. Thanks so much for having me on.
You betcha.
It's funny. My father owns a radio station, and while I grew up, we would have your show on all the time. So this is quite a pleasure.
Oh, that's such a sweet story. Tell your dad I said hello, please, and thank you for that.
No, we're still on his programming, I think. So in case he is listening, well, hello.
Yes, this is pretty awesome. So John, I looked you up. You have this incredible background. You're very articulate, by the way, because I always like to see how people talk before I get them on the show, right? And one of the pitches I saw for you was about how you had like 4 examples of how people are making money on the dark web. What do you think is the biggest way that people are making money on the dark web right now?
No, it's crazy. I think hackers and cyber criminals have certainly taken the dark web and made it into their own commercialized enterprise for cyber crime. They're either selling access to companies and businesses, they're either selling the exploits or the phishing websites that they create, or they're even asking, hey, I need a hack, I need an exploit. They ask them for sort of these help wanted hacker for hire organizations, and it's insane to see.
And so have you been following what's going on with the cold chain with the vaccine?
I have not, admittedly.
Oh, okay. Well, because there's been some reports of ransomware along the way that, and some hackers that are trying to prevent the vaccines from getting where they're going, and then holding some of the vaccines for ransom. And I understand that that's also happening on the dark web. So we talk about ransomware and phishing. What always astounds me is that you can go on the dark web. And folks, I'm not telling you to go to the dark web, and neither is John, because we don't want you to go there, because there's a lot of bad stuff and things that you can't unsee. Is that what always astounds me is that they have these like hackers for hire kits. What do you know about those?
No, absolutely. It's funny and crazy. We had seen, and one criminal or hacker that we had uncovered, he had this handle, the hacker alias of Wozniak, and it was a 0 instead of an O, so it looked very cool and cyber-like, right? They had posted on Torum, or the dark web forum website, that, hey, they're selling access to a managed service provider or a whole business or a company. They say, hey, it's located in eastern United States. I'm asking for $600 in Bitcoin, and we can provide like screenshots and photos and proof. Message us if interested. And that, honestly, that was a whole business, right? Laying out terms, establishing price, contact information, and that could be ransomware. That could be command and control. And we would watch other hackers respond to Wozniak's message, and it was incredible. He would say, hey, thanks for the offer, but I'm really looking for a partner that wants a more long-term business relationship. Nice. I want to make money. And that's crazy to see from a hacker.
Yeah, it is, because it's like, okay, well, this isn't just a one-time deal. Could you be with me for the next one? Or is there anything that you want me to go get for you? Then maybe I'll pay you for that. So what do you see as like the craziest thing that's on the dark web right now, or is that it?
In my opinion, I think that's it. Selling access, selling credentials, selling customer or user or employee information. Well, that's the crown jewel, right? We kind of followed up on that Wozniak fellow, and it's funny. We wanted to take this approach to sort of social engineer him and hack the hacker. What information were they willing to offer? And they fell for the bait, which was crazy. We were able to do our homework, find the victim business that was compromised, and notify them as soon as possible. So that story at least has a happy ending. We got that Wozniak fellow arrested, but it turns out he was a disgruntled employee of that business, of that company. He was an insider threat all along.
Wow. And, it seems like sometimes when you look at these, it quite often is the insider, because they know all the nooks and crannies and everything like that. You know, John, I'm running out of time. And since you know radio, you know that means I have to go to a break. But what I'd like to do is schedule time with you where you and I can actually dig deeper into this, and meaning that we'll go into more about the dark web and things that we should all be prepared for and things that may be coming in 2021. So, John, I put you on hold. You're going to talk to John, another John, and then we'll get back with you and we'll schedule a time for a podcast. All right, it's time now for our digital life hack. It's been a weird year, hasn't it? I think a lot of us are ready to have things run smoothly. I know I've gained a greater appreciation for the comfort of uninterrupted everyday routines, waking up, prepping my coffee, sitting in front of my PC, just ready to be productive. But sometimes your PC's performance can interrupt that. You know what I'm talking about. Slow apps, webcam connections, audio problems, and who hasn't had issues with their printer when you need it the most? You know what I'm talking about. Well, you don't have to sweat anymore. My good friends at Solve IQ have you totally covered. Their patented just-in-time service delivers optimizations to your PC, and tech support that you can really trust is just a phone call away. For $9.99 a month, you can call as many times as you like. Yes, as many times as you like. There's no commitment. You can pause or stop your membership anytime you want. That's the other thing I love about this. It's the next best thing to having me personally come to your house. Visit solveiqkim.com today. That's a special address, solveiq.com, solveiqkim.com today. That's solveiqkim.com. Goodbye frustrations, hello possible, solveiqkim.com. All right, this week we have 8 great gifts under $15 that don't feel like last-minute gifts. Like, number 1, everybody needs a webcam blocker for their phone, their tablet, computer, so you can just make sure that no one's watching. And it's this little gadget you place over the camera and you slide it when you actually need it. You can also make any outlet you control with a remote. So if you have somebody who wants to turn a light on and off, but they don't want to get in and out of bed or in and off the couch or whatever it may be, is that you can give them a remote for that. And then there's the perfect Christmas ornament for 2020, so you can remember the good times. It has things on it like social distancing and toilet paper and all kinds of other phrases. And then there's the multi-function pen. It's a ruler, a stylus, a screwdriver, a phone stand, and also a bottle opener. We have the Bluetooth beanie kit. We've got these great products, these great lists. But this one in particular, I spent a lot of time together this past week putting together just for you. These are 15 items under $15 that are great last-minute gifts, but they don't look like last-minute gifts, if you get my drift. You can find the entire list over at Komando.com. Just click the link that says Kim Show. I've been having so much fun putting this list together. It's like I'm spending your money. It's great. Still to come, we're going to talk about Apple replacing the touchscreens here on the Kim Komando Show. Just a quick reminder over at Komando.com, if you're not getting all of our newsletters, go there now. And, every single one of you, if you get just one newsletter, you have an account for your newsletter over at the website. Head over to Komando.com. When you're there, just hit the link that says newsletters, or if you want a super secret shortcut, you go to Komando.com/subscribe, but don't tell anybody. Kim in Alabama. Hi there, Kim.
Hi, Kim. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. What's going on?
Okay, I have this dilemma here. My daughter enlisted in the service, and she'll be leaving out January the 4th. And I've been looking for a portable charger for her phone. And she has an iPhone 7. Okay. And when she's in boot camp, they'll take away her phone. So, but I still need it because about 2 to 3 weeks when they're in boot camp, they will, if they've done well, they will give them their phones back for a certain limited time. And in case there's not access to a wall charger for her to get that phone charged up so she can call home.
Sure.
I'm looking for the portable one, and one that doesn't say that you've got to have this cable to go with it to get it charged up. Because if I have to do all that, I'm like, she's not going to have access to the wall.
Yeah.
We're talking, hundreds of boot camp soldiers.
Sure.
And everybody's going to be going for the wall.
Exactly. Well, here's the deal. Number 1, she's going to be okay, and don't worry about her too much, okay?
Thanks.
That's good.
Anyway, well, let's get to the question.
Well, I don't want. Sounds like you're going to get.
Tough.
Yeah, it's a tough one, huh? I mean, I don't want you because then I can hear it in your voice. So just
What you're hearing, I've been sick.
Oh, have you? Okay.
Yeah, I've got the major C.
Oh, you do?
Ooh,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
To hear that. Okay. Well,
That's okay. I'm at the end of it. I'm at the end of it.
Well, see, and then you'll have immunity, and everything will be good. All right.
I hope.
All right. Well, here's the deal: is that the good news is that you came to the right place, okay, and that I'm going to help you out. And that what you're going to buy it's almost like a portable power pack, okay. And don't worry about writing anything down because I'll send you a link to it over at Amazon.
Thank you so much.
I don't want you to worry about, what is that called again type of thing. But let me tell you how it works. It's a power pack that she can charge up. As a matter of fact, I have one on my laptop right now. And so anytime that she needs a charge, she's not going to go to the wall with the two chargers and fight for that, okay? Because you're right, the phone may not have a charge at that point. She's going to pull out her power pack and just plug her phone into the battery pack. And then she'll have an instantaneous charge. And that's it.
And see, that's what I was looking for. But all the ones that like the Anchor, the Moby, and all these ones, I mean, I have read. And then a lot of them say, don't buy this one because you have to buy this certain cable to plug it into the wall to get the charge on the power pack.
Okay.
So
well, you're like, no, they come with the cable. The one that I'm going to give you comes with the cable and the comes with the cord that you need and the way to plug it in the wall. So what she's going to do is in the morning when she gets ready, 2 days before or whatever day it is, right? Doesn't matter. Is that she's going to plug that in when she's in the bathroom and she's going to make sure that thing's charged up. So when they give her phone back, instead of her plugging the phone into the outlet, she's going to plug the phone into this power pack.
Okay. So in this power pack, it will hold charge for a couple of weeks as long as it's been cut off.
Okay, it'll hold the charge for a couple of weeks. But what I'm saying is that even though she doesn't have her phone, she can still keep the power pack charged up. I mean, the power pack, when she goes to the bathroom, if there's an outlet, she just plugs that in, and then it'll charge right there. But if it's charged up, regardless, if she charges it all up, it should keep that charge for a couple of weeks regardless. But what I'm saying is that even though she doesn't have her phone, if she has access to an outlet, she can keep this power pack. And in addition to that, many of these have more than one way to plug in more than one device. So if she wants to get creative, if she makes a friend, she can have them share that power pack as well. But again, they're really simple. They're about $30. Slam dunk. It's going to work. And again, as I mentioned, I have one right in my laptop bag right now because, you never know when you might need a charge. And if you don't have an outlet, like right now, I'll tell you the outlet under my desk here where I do the show, it's like you got to go deep down, dig down, and, push some things out of the way. And then you got to plug this thing in. It gets to be a bit of a nightmare. But again, I'll go ahead and post a link for everybody else over at Komando.com and the community and the Q&A forum. And then for you, Kim, I'll go ahead and send you a link directly to the power pack that you need. As a matter of fact, I'm just going to send you the power pack that you need as a Christmas present. So, John, make sure that we get Kim's mailing address so we can send that out to her next week. Speaking of phones, to come right back, I'm talking about how Apple is replacing some touch screens. Need to tell you about that. And we have the intel here on the Kim Komando Show. Is that if you have an iPhone, one of the things you want to do is you open settings and then you scroll down and you go to battery and then you tap battery health. That's where you're going to find this handy dandy report that tells you all about your battery's health percentage. So it may also give you some ideas on how to improve your battery health. But the bottom line here is that if you go into settings, scroll down to battery and then look at battery health, if that number is less than 80%, then it's time to replace the battery. And the battery health app can also recommend that you get it replaced. And if it does, that's going to cost you around $80. But meanwhile, if you have an iPhone 11 with a screen that's not responding to touch, you could be eligible for a free replacement. Apple says a small percentage of the Apple 11s may have stopped responding because of a faulty display module. They have a page set up over on Apple's site. We have a link to it over at Komando.com. The affected iPhones were built between November of last year and this past May. So you need to enter your phone's serial number to see if it's included. Just make sure that you back up your iPhone first. And keep in mind, even if you're not having problems right now, the program covers a display module replacement for 2 years after the purchase. Again, we have more details over at Komando.com. And we have another jam-packed, fun-filled hour of the Kim Komando Show that you definitely don't want to miss. Our DIY security is fabulous. It's all coming up here on the West Star Multimedia Network. Hey, thanks for watching a past episode of my national radio show. That's why it's called The Kim Komando Show Rewind. Now, to get the entire show, all 3 hours, when it airs live, or you can get on demand, head over to getkim.com and you can become a member of the Komando community. There are a ton of perks. Aside from just the show, you get free ebooks, a place to get answers to your tech questions, and more of me. So come on, what are you waiting for? Click that link right now and become a member. And thank you.